This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to a very quiet dawn here in the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. My name is James Hendry, on camera's David, and I'm trying not to ruin the quiet of the morning by talking too loudly. A very special welcome to all the kids who are watching today. You can talk to us using the email address kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. We'd love to hear from you. Isn't that beautiful? Birds and crickets. And Impala is very grateful to have made it through the night. Now it's a perfect time of day because it's just not quite early enough yet for the birds to have got up properly, so we can just hear the odd grey-headed sparrow going titoop, titoop. One or two francolins, the very first robin calling. What a beautiful, beautiful time of the day. Those impalas just enjoying their breakfast of grass and bushes. Always alert, looking out for predators. Well, that was a very peaceful start to the day, and these impalas will be very grateful that they are not looking at what Rowan is looking at all the way up north at andBeyond Ngala.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to andBeyond Ngala. So here with me, Rowan, and Marcel behind the camera, and in front of the camera, we've got Hyena. But now this is number. And here, another hyena calling from further behind us. So what we're actually going to do is follow them for a while. So I'll let this one come past us quickly, and then we'll turn around and see where they go. They actually, judging by their bellies, they look like they've eaten something. I mean, both the ones that walked past already. Just waiting for this little curious character. Morning, Mr. Hyena. Oh, I can see my own breath. This is the coldest morning we've had so far. Okay. Let me give him some space. I'll just quickly turn around. So, good morning. And especially morning to all the kids. Thank you for joining us. Let's see what these hyenas are up to. Give you some time to cross the road. It seems like the other two are just a little bit further forward on the road again. So I'll give him time to catch up and then we'll slowly follow them. why not? Not like we were doing anything else. There's actually a lot of hyena tracks on the road here. Don't know what happened. But it's always fun to follow hyena, see where they take us for a little while. However, if they do go off-road a little bit too far, then we won't follow them. Especially through here. I think I'll damage my soul going through all the thick trees here. Some Impalas to the left, just staring at the hyenas. Marcel says he's old, so he can be damaged. Is that what you meant? Not really? Okay. What are you hearing? You can see how he pricked up his ears, looking to the right. Let's see what he's up to. Nice little surprise with the sunrise, having 3 hyenas walk straight towards us. No, it doesn't look like he's listening to anything in particular, the way he's moving his head. Maybe just having a sniff in the area. Of course, hyenas have an incredible sense of smell. So just also, like us, venturing around, seeing what he's going to do for the day. Of course, Marcel and I have no real plans. Okay, well, that's a good start for Taylor. We're going to send you over to Karongo with a little surprise.
Good morning everybody and welcome to Giraffe Private Game Reserve, where we are having our first official view of not just one but 2 leopards. I'm not going to introduce myself just yet because we might lose sight of them as they're moving through the long grass. Let's just see where the other one is. It's a big male leopard by the name of Savo, and there's a female leopard in here that's very, very nervous. So we're sitting very far away from them, and she keeps hiding herself in the bushes. So we haven't had a good look at them, but can you hear them growling? It's very faint. They've been growling at one another. How exciting to start your morning off with a sunrise. Just appearing in the distance, the sound of rutting Impala, the beautiful Drakensberg mountain, and if I had to live in any town, I'd like to live in that little town that's just below the mountains. How cool is that? I don't know if we can move. Is our signal stable enough to maybe move around a little bit? Oh, there's one. There we go. We've got a little view. We've got some ears sticking out of the grass, but I can't explain to you how far away we are. We must be about 70 or 80 meters away from these cats. I'm giving them quite a lot of space, like I said, because that female leopard, she doesn't like the cars so much. The big male, though, wow, he's very impressive, and I hope we get to have a better view of him, because he is not shy at all, and he actually lives around the camp that I'm based at. He's there almost every single day at some point in time, but I am going to have to move to try and keep up with them, otherwise we're going to lose them in this vegetation. Even though it is slightly open, leopards have got the most amazing camouflage, and if I don't keep up with them, then this will be the first and the last sighting that we have of them for the morning. See, I can't see if they're walking behind those bushes now and heading in the complete opposite direction. Okay, I'm going to move because I don't want to lose these leopards. Off to you. Just need to try and navigate some of these areas. My name is Taylor, and on camera today is Alex. We're just going through this little open area that has been cleared quite. There is lots of sicklebush, which is an encroaching species. It's indigenous, we get it, it occurs in Africa, but it just takes over all these open areas. So they've tried to clear it quite a bit. Now I need to try and figure out where they're going. I don't want to give them a fight and get too close. We shall see what happens next. Not sure if anybody is still on the other end or if they do still have our feed. But it's great to have all the families that have joined us today. Right, I'm going to carry on trying to find these leopards. Off you go back to Rowan and Ngala and see if he's got as gorgeous of a view as we do.
So we are still coming to meet each other. See the one in the front coming back towards this one. So still following hyenas. It's quite interesting what they do. They walk and they'll listen. And we heard a leopard rasping very far to our right. Let's see what they do. Quite a nice greeting ceremony. So we'll just sit right here and watch it. And hear another hyena calling. Yeah. It's Impala ratting to the right now. I don't know if you saw the one hyena ran in that direction. Oh, it's coming back. We're just discussing how much we love the way they run. It's so bouncy. What are you guys up to? But big expectations from them that they have to take us somewhere interesting or find something interesting for us. Look how cool they are when they run. Huh, okay. So apparently nothing interesting to the west and they have decided to go back east. So I'm going to reverse before these two get here. Tyra and Dash has asked if hyenas are nocturnal, if they hunt at night. They are mostly known as nocturnal. During the day it gets too hot and they won't be as active. So this morning, actually rather nice and chilly still. And so hence why these hyenas are still active, but they'll hunt majority of the time at night. Sorry, I'm just waiting for one more to pass and then we will follow this one. We'll be fourth in line. There'll be one hyena behind us and two in front of us. This one's a lot darker than the first one. Looks more reddish in color. And then the last one is right behind us now. So we are now part of the clan. Well done, Marcel. Finally fitting in. Oh, the other one's running quite quickly in the front. Quite cool, you just see them scooping up sand. So of course this is another thing we'd look for if we had to go tracking, is the distance of the gait, so how far the front feet is from the back foot. You'd be able to see that from tracking, seeing whether the animal was running or not. Then of course the sand pushed back. Oh, the one in front has slowed down now. But it's funny, they all reacted, so they were going that way, and then when this hyena started calling on this side, they reacted. This is right where we found them a little bit earlier. Exciting times. Maybe they'll all meet up together as a clan. Then we get to meet the whole clan also. All our friends together in one place. The one in front looks bigger than the one we are following now. Let's see, it'd be nice to see when they're actually next to each other. Okay, so while we try to stick with them. Just want to send you to Djuma and Lauren, who also just wants to say good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I do want to say good morning to you all. It's so cold, in case you can't already tell. My name is Lauren and I do have Owen on camera. And we're doing our normal western boundary check. And it's chilly. I don't think I have enough winter clothes, which is very surprising since I hail from Scotland. But I really don't think I'm equipped for the winter that we are about to experience. So I've done my normal Zoe's Road, checking for any leopard movements. I'm really in the mood for a leopard this morning. And then I'm going to do the western boundary, and then I have no idea where I'm going to end up after that. It's a small reserve. James and I always have a conversation in the morning. Where are you going to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Let's just check all directions and we'll meet in the middle. And that's generally how it works. I do have some of you may remember this. This is my Masai Mara sugar. Brings back lots of memories, and I have to say it keeps me warm. The mornings in the Masai Mara used to also be as chilly as this. I have no idea what the temperatures are. I entirely missed that this morning. But I do know that I'm going to put my gloves on now. So, off to the western boundary we go, but we are going to send you guys back across to Rowan, who's after his hyenas.
Okay, well, welcome back. We are still sticking with the two. There's still one running behind us. And as you can see, they are just bopping along or bouncing along. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see where they go. They are going east though, which means towards one of our boundaries, but I'm hoping that they'll turn left fairly soon. I think this one is just looking to see where the other hyena was, the third one that's following them. So far, we've just been driving, and so we haven't been able to hear any of the other sounds. As you can see, they're slowing down now. So hyena would be able to place where exactly that sound was coming from. So they would know if they are close or far away. They are slowing down and starting to sniff around. Don't know what you guys think, but I still think I maintain the one in front looks a slight bit bigger than the one behind it. Where are you going? Please stay on the road. Yeah, Marcel also says a little bit taller. Oh no. I want them to stay on the road. There's a very big, nice open clearing further east and north of us, but now if they turn right, it means they're going south. Not too far from the boundary. Let's see, maybe we can find, because there's a nice game path that they're following. Maybe we can actually find where they're going to come out on the boundary. Just in here, it's all Tamboti sections, so you'll find a lot of like very slow growing trees, so we can't drive in there. But we'll see if we can find them popping out on the boundary. Yeah, the one behind us, just turn quickly, I think is also probably going to follow the same path. Oh, it's disappeared already. So it has followed the same path. Okay, well, let's see if we can find them on the boundary. Yes, my hands are frozen. We've been driving so slow this morning because we didn't want to get cold, but now my hands are just very cold. Okay, so for now, we're going to see if we can find them again on the boundary, but send you over to Djuma and Lauren. She's got a few elephants.
My journey to the western boundary has been halted because I have some roadblocks. ducks. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so lovely to see you all. You're slightly dirty. It's a very chilly morning, as you know, because I've told you, and I'm sure everyone else has told you. So for the elephants, you really will not see their ears flapping unless they have something like a fly or something irritating their ears. Because when they flap their ears continuously, that's to keep them cool. So when it's hot like this, their ears will just remain in the one place. And of course, they're mammals, just like you and I. So their internal body temperature is maintained. Their metabolic processes inside maintain the body temperature. So if they keep feeding and keep moving, then they'll be able to keep warm, just like us. When it's cold, if we do 10 star jumps in the morning, then at least we warm up marginally. And if we have a nice cup of coffee or a slice of toast, then it helps us to keep us warm. It's right next to the car, this female, young female. Rana, I have no idea. You're from Singapore and you're asking about dinosaurs. I really don't know. Really don't know the strength of a dinosaur, and I think it would depend on what dinosaur you're asking about. Obviously, the T-Rex was a huge dinosaur, but I actually don't know how strong they were. I imagine the biggest of all dinosaurs were probably stronger than an elephant if I had to guess, but I really don't know, I'm afraid. You've stumped me there. Oh, good morning. You're a young girl. Right in front of the car, so magical. Now they're all crossing this way. I'm just going to go a little bit further ahead. Oh, okay, no, we still see you. You can tell by their size. This girl's young. She's got a very angular forehead, so I know it's a female. And you can see the sort of development of her mammary glands. Oh, and can you see the fork-tailed drongos making all the noise? You hear those birds? It's these two here. Fork-tailed drongos. And they're following the elephants. Look at their forked tails. See that? Beautiful, plain black birds with a sharp forked tail. And they follow herbivores like elephants and buffalo and rhino and giraffe, even some antelope species. And what they're hoping for is that the elephants turn up and disturb all the insects on the ground below. So the larger the herbivore, the more chance that the ground below is going to get disturbed and all the insects will pop out, and that is what they're looking for. Okay, I think we timed that perfectly. We may have lost the elephants into the block. Let me just keep scanning. They've gone off this way. Can you see them, Owen? I think we're just able to see them leaving. Charlotte, I'm not sure if you got a view, but that large one at the back is a big female. She's most likely the mother of one of the smaller ones. So she's very, very large. I would say maybe in her 30s. And then there's a huge difference in all the size ranges. I'd say that female we looked at was just around teenage years. She's going to start sort of developing and being ready to mate soon. And then there was a very, very young one. I'm not sure if you saw that one that was on the road at the start. And I would say she was around 5. So there's a whole different range of ages with the elephants, but it's very difficult to tell. I don't think I could ever say exactly what age an elephant is. You could most likely just give a bracket. So somewhere in the region of this and this. It's very difficult. But that female at the back is extremely large. You see her angular, sharp forehead? Males are different. Males will have a smooth, rounded forehead. And she had very, very swollen mammary glands, which means she's most likely a mother. Most likely one of these youngsters is her offspring. And they're just going to spend the day moving and feeding. Daniela, you're 9 years old and you're asking about the trunk. A very special organ that elephants have that's way more powerful and muscular than you could ever imagine. And they use it for such a number of things. They use it to feed, as this one is doing here. They'll twirl it around vegetation and grass and pull. You see those two nostrils? We just got a view of those nostrils. It also acts as a nose. Not only does it act as an arm, but they use it to smell, so it's also a nose. It's very, very powerful, and they can smell things from great distances. They also use it in communication. They touch one another. They're very tactile, so they use it to communicate. They also use it as a snorkel when they're underwater. They put their trunk out of the water, and they can breathe, just like humans do when we use a snorkel and we go swimming. Calves will also use it as almost like a dummy. Pacify themselves by putting the trunk in their mouth. There's many, many different uses of the trunk. Wow, what a beautiful early morning sighting. It's just a beautiful morning all round. I think we are going to head to the western boundary. Now there's no roadblocks, and you guys are going to head across to James looking at the sunrise.
There is the sun coming up. Now, we heard that there were perhaps lions hunting a buffalo yesterday evening. I didn't say this earlier. Seems like an age since I last saw you. It's about half an hour. Anyway, we've found where the tracks of the buffalo are. They're heading off basically towards the sun, or just to the left of the sun. But we haven't found any lion tracks. And so I don't know what the buffalo was shouting about. Maybe there was a lion killing one of them, but we shall definitely follow up and see if we can find that mystery out. Beautiful sunrise there. Let us move on, because we want to find lions before they go fast asleep, if there are any around here. Hello, Noah. You're 7 in Arizona. And, you know, by the time you get to my age, it might be possible that you can just plug a USB into your brain and transfer knowledge to it. But unfortunately, when I was a lad of your age, and indeed now, the only way to get knowledge is to do this strange thing that people used to do quite a lot of, and that's called reading. And, well, that's how you do it, Noah. You pick up a book and you read, and then you forget, and then you read it again. And then you forget, and then you read it again. Some people are very lucky. They can read something once and they'll never forget it. I am not one of those people, so I have to read things again and again. And slowly you build up knowledge. Reading is the best way to do it. You can talk to people as well. You talk to experts who've been in these areas for a long time and try and remember what they say to you. But basically reading is the way to... But that's the way. And Noah, I would suggest reading books as well, rather than the internet. The internet can be a source of very good knowledge, as long as you're very careful about where you find it on the internet, because the internet is full of a lot of garbage and a lot of good stuff as well. So you have to just be a little bit careful when you're learning knowledge from the internet, that you're reading things that are true and not fake. You have to be the same with books, actually, but sometimes it's a little easier with books to tell if people are talking garbage or not. But reading, Noah, is definitely the best way to pick up knowledge, I think. Now, the buffalo tracks went to the pan last night, so there's a little water hole there. They drank there, then they turned around and they headed pretty much in that direction. We found their tracks crossing this road and going down there, so we're going to cut around and go to the next road over and see if they made it that far. If they didn't make it that far, then they're probably stuck inside this block here. And maybe we'll pick up the lion tracks as well, if there are indeed any lions. Now, the reason we know, or we think, that there may have been a buffalo kill is that we have a camera situated at a little water hole up ahead here, and it's got a very sensitive microphone. And a lot of people watch that camera all the time, and they reported hearing what sounded like a buffalo being killed during the night at about 10:30 last night. So that's quite a long time ago. It's about 8 hours ago. In fact, it's exactly 8 hours ago. And so it's quite difficult to tell where that sound came from and how far away it was. Anyway, exciting to look for it and see what we can find. Let's navigate this rather tricky bit of road. Hello, Charlotte. You're age 9 and wondering how to get into university. Charlotte, you've just got to finish high school and do your very best. No, I'm now deeply confused. Sorry, Natalie, you're going to have to try that again. This time in English, please. What type of training do you need for university for guiding? Yes? I'm just getting the question right, Charlotte. Right. So I'm assuming what you actually mean there is what kind of training do you need at university for guiding, correct? Well, you actually don't need to go to university to be a guide, but if you're going to go to university, which would be a good idea if you can, then you should do some sort of biological degree. So a science degree where you do a focus on animals and plants, so zoology and botany, or some kind of variation of those things. You don't have to do that, but that's always a nice thing to do, because what it does is it gives you an idea of how animals and plants interact, and it gives you a good basic understanding of evolutionary theory, which is very important if you actually want to understand what's going on in nature. Still haven't found any lion tracks just yet, but all of the practical stuff, the specific trees and birds and animals and animal behavior and tracking and that sort of stuff, you do on site. You have to do that on site. You can't do that at a university, but the university education will give you a good basic grounding in biology and evolution, but you don't have to do it. A lot of very successful guys have not been to university. Right, so we're on to the next road across from where the tracks were. And while we look and see if the buffalo made it this far, let's go all the way across to andBeyond Ngala, where Rowan is sitting still, I believe, with his hyena.
So we lost our hyenas. They ended up going south through the Tambuti thicket, and I mean their general direction was southeast, and we sat on the boundary for a good 5 minutes and they actually just never popped out, which is why I think I got asked the other day which animal is the hardest to track, and I stand by my answer. I'd say it's hyena, because they never really just move in a distinct line or distinct direction. They end up going this way and then sniff something there, and they'll go this way a little bit and then move off to the other side and smell something there. So a very interesting animal to try follow on foot, the tracks of it. But yeah, anyway, so we lost those three. Checked the big open clearings, nothing here. Can't see tracks of anything crossing in from this side. So what we're going to do now is go further west and go to a watering hole, see what's happening there, but slowly. So I will be looking down every now and then at the ground, see what other interesting tracks we can find for the morning. So I've not seen the Birmingham Pride for quite some time now. I think they've been off of andBeyond in Ngala for, what's it been, nearly a week? 7 days, 8 days, which is the longest stint they've ever spent away from home. Though, maybe they just needed a break. Lots of impalas in these clearings. As you can see, they would have spent the night here just to be safer from ambush predators, things like lions and leopards, because when they sleep, well, some of them would be standing feeding for the entire night, then others sleeping or just lying around. But they'd be able to spot these predators much easier in a big open clearing like this. And the sunlight now is just magnificent. It's the last little bit of what is known as the golden hour. Luke from Australia. Animals don't always walk on the road, but a lot of the time they do. If you had to choose a path to walk, Luke, you're also going to choose a path of least resistance. So the road is very good, but then often to the side you'll find game paths, what we call game paths. And these were actually created by animals walking in a certain direction, maybe towards a watering hole, to a good grazing area, good feeding ground, things like that. But you often find them on the road just because there's less vegetation, so they don't need to walk through the bush at all. I think next game drive I'll definitely be wearing gloves if it's this cold again. And really feel winter's coming along. Saying that though, it's going to be a nice balmy 26 degrees Celsius a little bit later on. There's just lots of Impala tracks everywhere and they look like little arrows. Avi from India. Do we spot more animals at night or in the morning? Avi, there's, in all honesty, I don't think, I can't really answer that clearly. I think they're about the same. It's very good balance. See, in the morning, going out, everything is a fresh start. So this is when we do majority of the tracking. And because a lot of our predators are nocturnal, leopards, lions, they'll walk around more at night than they do during the day. So we'll spend a lot of time tracking, and then by the afternoon, if we had a very successful morning, we kind of know where they are. So we know where to go, where to find them. But I can't really say whether I see more animals in the morning or at night. I think it's pretty much the same. Sometimes we have very lucky mornings, and then sometimes we have very lucky afternoons, RV, if I have to be honest. Everything's gone very quiet now. We can't hear hyenas calling anymore. Impalas are in full rut. They're making a lot of noise. Marley, what is my favorite animal to track? Marley, I'll be honest, I love tracking a pride of lions, but I think it's because it's a little bit easier than tracking a leopard. I can tell you the sense of success I find, or I get, when I successfully track a leopard, which doesn't really happen too often. It's phenomenal. But lions, because let's take Birmingham Pride, for example, there's 16 of them, so it's easier to track because one would go this way, but they kind of all join up in the same path. So it's a lot easier to track, which is why I like that more. But then just I mean, the feeling you get when you track a leopard successfully, it's indescribable. Actually, anything really. I mean, if you can track and find anything, you just feel great about it. But my favorite animal is a leopard. So I think seeing and finding a leopard would be the best, but I like tracking lions. It's just a little bit easier. Oh, shaping up to be a beautiful morning. My nose is a little bit cold. Marcel's nose is red. Don't want to put that in front of the camera. A little bit later. Okay. So Lauren has got a bird and we're going to send you back over to Djuma.
We have a vulture in a tree, which is interesting. White-backed vulture, you can tell by the body shape straight away. And look at that beak. And it's a very large beak designed for being a vulture and getting into carcasses and picking up whatever scraps you can, because there's going to be so many vultures around that carcass. You've got to get in, get what you can get, and then leave again. Now, it's funny I'm seeing this vulture here who is probably just waking up and waiting to ride the thermals. The sun's not up high enough yet. But what's interesting me is that Davy and I drove this road at last minute yesterday with maybe 60 seconds to go, and we came across a lot of vultures in the west. So I wonder why are they here? One vulture in the morning is really nothing to be suspicious about. This one is really just waiting on the sun coming up before it can soar. But a lot of vultures in a tree in one area could signify that they're waiting on something. So I think it's maybe worth just getting off the boundary, popping in, and just seeing if we can see signs of anybody. On a safari, you've got to look and listen at everything. What are the animals doing? What are they responding to? What are they vocalizing at? Why have they positioned themselves there? It's very, very important. Okay, we have a vehicle coming up behind us, so I am just going to pull over to the side, let them pass, and then I'll be on my way. But if vultures are aware of a carcass, they will hang around that area and be very, very patient for days on end, because they know eventually they'll be able to get in and get some food. Can you hear the Impala? I can't see the Impala. Let's see if I can try and see who is making all of this noise. I can hear him, and it's just rutting. It's not alarm calls. But I can't see him. Where are you, sir? Dylan, you are 9 years old in Los Angeles. Look at this hornbill, Owen. Can you see the Impala? Oh no. Ah, well spotted, Owen. You can see the culprit behind all this noise. Dylan, you're asking, can we keep vultures as pets? I am really not entirely sure why anyone would want to, Dylan. I think vultures need to soar. They need to be in the sky. They eat carcasses. They eat dead animals. And their role out here is to do exactly that, so that they keep the environment clean. If we didn't have vultures, then no one's going to eat up all the carcasses till there's nothing left. And then they would lie there and they would rot. They would be very, very smelly and also spread disease, bacteria, pathogens. So vultures need to be free. They need to soar the skies and be vultures. So I don't think anyone should or could keep a vulture as a pet. You saw that sharp beak, Dylan. It's very, very sharp. I would not want to keep any animal that has a beak that sharp. And they're large birds. They have a very, very large wingspan and they're heavy. So I'm really not sure where anyone would keep them. So my answer to that question is no. Ah, there is a hornbill up there, but he's hiding. Okay, Mr. Impala's gone quiet now, and we're going to continue onwards. Wow, 45 minutes has flown by already. So what that means is we are going to open up the drive and take questions from everybody now. So thank you for all the questions so far. And kids, still please keep sending in your questions. We will answer them, but we'll also answer questions from everybody now. Now my earpiece is giving me lots of trouble today, I'm afraid. So I'm just adjusting it in my ear. There we go. And we are going to pop back into Djuma. Djuma's on this side. And have a little look around to see if the vultures are waiting on anything. Is it just the thermals, or is there something yummy and delicious on the ground that they're waiting to eat? I do not know. Because vultures are so heavy, they need to wait. It's too cold right now. The sun isn't up. The thermals are not in the air. So they need to be very, very patient until they can start soaring the skies. Okay, we're going to cut in here on a wonderful road called Power Lines, which, well, has a ginormous power line. Yes, fantastically named road. Okay, Owen, are you ready for a bump? Maya, you're 10 years old. Oh, crikey. Are you still on board, Owen? I have no idea what that was. A stump, a stone, and I do not know why it's in the middle of the road. Maya, you're 10 years old from Arizona, and you're asking, where do we live and do our families live with us? We live in a very small camp. It's a wild camp, and it's in the heart of Djuma. It's right next to Quarantine, which is one of the areas we sort of regularly show you. Many animals come into our camp because it's completely wild. We've tried to be very minimalistic and, well, not take up too much of the environment. And sadly, my family don't live with me. My family are in Scotland. Some of us are lucky to have partners here, but most of us, our families are very, very, very far away, Maya, which is hard, but we do what we do because we love it and we want to show you the animals. But it's not always easy, you know. There's challenging times out here, Maya. Equipment breaks, weather turns on us. We can be very cold, we can get stuck, we can hit trees, we cannot find any animals. So it's not as easy as it may look, but of course we all love it. We're so passionate about it, that's why we do it. But I'm sure I can speak for everyone when I say that we really, really do miss our families. I don't know when I'll be able to see mine again, because I've got to do international travel. Hopefully it won't be too long. Cannot see anything with the sun on my face, but I'm not complaining. It's lovely to feel the sun. Okay, I don't really know where I'm going now. I'm going to try and figure it out, make some decisions, and as I do that, we're going to send you back across to James for an update.
Hello again. No real updates here, so let's look at that bird on the road there. It is the... There it is. A humble yet beautiful bird with a lovely call. And its colleagues, the Cape turtle doves, are now calling all around. Mars from Austria, this is a difficult question to answer. I mean, I haven't had plastic surgery. I haven't engaged in anything that is particularly visage changing at all. I think it's probably entirely genetic chance that my appearance resembles Jason Statham's slightly. You will find that he probably weighs a lot more than me. He's probably thicker set than I am, despite my best efforts to put some muscle onto this bird-like physique that I was blessed with. My attempts have been largely unsuccessful, and so that's the best answer I can give you. I think it's a random genetic chance. I haven't made a concerted effort to look like him. We seem to have the same unfortunate male pattern baldness and a similar kind of beard. And I think what really does it is this flat nose that has no bridge. See? That's what really does it. Good. Thank you for that question. I'm sure everybody else on safari was fascinated by it. We're in Austria, I think, which is lovely to hear. So it's happened, it's the buffalo tracks going into Djuma. Haven't had them coming out again. Done a few circles around the place. Can't find them coming out of a block. So they're probably inside a block here. But if one of their number happened to be taken by a pride of lions, I fear me they would not be in the same block as that in which their colleague was being devoured. I therefore do not know what those sounds were, and if they were a buffalo being killed, I've got a sneaky suspicion they weren't on Djuma, because there are no lion tracks that I can find going into Djuma. To the right-hand side is a reserve called Buffelshoek, which you will have heard me mention many times, where we cannot go, we can't go there, but the animals can. And this buffalo herd came out of Buffelshoek, went into Djuma, but I don't find any lions on their trail. And often you will. Often it's quite clear. You see the buffalo move, and then you'll see the lions coming after them. But we shall keep searching around here, probably another 10 minutes or so, and then I think we'll press on to another part of the reserve. There are also very few hyena tracks around, which is odd. Elliot, you want to know we have electricity and toilets in our camp? Let us answer two of those questions separately. We have electricity, yes. The very fact that you are receiving this broadcast means that we are powering it in some way. None of this happens without electricity, so yes, we do have electricity. We have electricity from the mains, same kind of electricity you have in Singapore, and then we get it from a generator if the mains go down, which in this country happens quite a lot. We won't get into that. And then toilets. Yes, we have toilets. We have water. So we even have flushing toilets, which is good, don't you think? I think so. They run on something called a septic tank system, so they are not centralized sewage. I'm sure all of you are finding this absolutely fascinating. But our camp is actually relatively sophisticated. We have the same food that you would be eating, well, not quite as same as in Singapore, but normal food. We don't have to go and forage between drives for our lunch and breakfast. We don't have to go and hunt Impala to make bacon. We buy it all in from a big town. So, yeah, we get plenty of food. And we have toilets. And we have, here they left. The buffalo left us over here. I kind of hoped they were just milling around on the road, but if you look carefully, you can see that they walked north into Buffelshoek. They came in and out on the same tracks, basically. I'm trying to find you a really nice, obvious one. You see here, dog? not great. It's going that way, which is north. But you can see they were milling around. There are tracks all over this road, going north and south. So I think they came in and went out on the same path. And these are not very fresh. I mean, that's a fairly soft patty. Makes a good patty sound. But the mucous membrane on top of the patty has hardened somewhat over the course of the night. So we see they come in, and we see them come out. They are gone somewhere else. Someone is behind us. We're being stalked by a vehicle full of people. Who could they be? I wonder if they're dangerous. I doubt it. Just going to do one more little loopy around, and then we'll go off to the east. Maya, you want to know what we do if we need to go to the bathroom during drive? I must say, this is taken on a slightly lavatorial tone, this conversation. Anyway, Maya, we then just stop and look around us. Lots of privacy to be had out here in the bush. Sometimes if you have to use the bush, you just have to use the bush. Normally you wait until you've got back to camp, though. I think I shall call this particular segment the lavatory segment. Yeah, I see no more sign of those beefies. Yeah, so we'll just do, there's another little loop we can do here, and then I think we'll go east. Alright, let's go back up to andBeyond Ngala now, where Rowan is knocking about. I'm not sure what he's looking for right now, but I have no doubt that his capable language skills will be able to inform you.
So you might be thinking now, what a curious time for a swim. And there's a baby waterbuck in the water. And I don't think it was her or his decision to come for a swim right now. I think it got chased in by some or other predator. So we got to the dam wall. This is known as Clara Dam. And there was just this curious shape in the far distance. And then quickly scanned the side, and I don't really know what it was. It might have just been a hyena walking away, but something walked away just to our right. So we tried to get to this area as quickly as possible and just found a hyena walking around. So it could have been a chase this poor baby waterbuck into the water. Of course, that's what waterbuck do, is when they are frightened, they'll readily just run straight towards water. So you can see it's looking around still, but it's not moving. Then whatever predator was chasing it isn't following. A whole bunch of hippos to its left. They're not doing anything about it. Actually, waterbuck are really good swimmers, luckily, for this little chap. Yeah, I feel quite sorry for it. I mean, when we saw it, the first thought we had was, ooh, it must be quite cold. Of course, they've got very, 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 very long hair. So I don't think it's actually suffering of the cold. It's not like it's shivering or anything. It must feel a lot safer in the water. I've also been trying to see what sort of tracks there are on this side what could have chased it in, but for now we've only seen the hyena. So I'm being told that a lot of you are wondering if there are crocodiles in the area, and no, there are none here at Clorodam, so this waterbuck does not need to worry. There's no crocodile coming to get it. I've had it before though, where impalas get chased into the watering holes, especially by wild dogs, and then often hippos kill them. They don't eat them, of course. Hippos are grazers or vegetarians per se, but often kill them, like a territorial thing. They seem really relaxed, very chilled with this waterbuck. Quite a cute one, eh? The donkey llama thingy going on. But still not moving at all. Still just looking around. So where it's looking now is exactly where we saw something walk into the bush. Mosumi waterbucks do live in herds. You're probably wondering where the mom and the rest of the herd would be. They're usually here on the northern side, so it could be that whatever chased it really just split it up and then went for the youngster, of course, being smaller. But yeah, they are gregarious animals, Mosumi. The males are quite magnificent, very big, long horns, rather aggressive. I think, especially with each other, I think they actually do end up killing a lot of their own kind, the males, when they get into fights. Very, very long horns. There's a baby hippo next to this one here, just went underwater. Not yet a hippopotamus, just a potamus. Natalie is feeling very bad for the waterbuck in the water. I guess, yeah, it'll be fine, Natalie. It's gonna come out a little bit later. You know what? It survived another day, but it does look quite cold in there. I'm shivering just for it. Just trying to see this baby. Yeah, there, just the head popped up. A little bit. Next one. There we go. Zhang from Singapore, only 10 years old, asking, do predators usually hunt in the morning? It's still rather cool, so they would, but most of the predators we have here are actually nocturnal, so they'll hunt at night. Saying that, I'm saying mostly, majority of the time, they hunt nocturnally. But you often, we've seen lions hunt here at 12 o'clock midday. Hippo's giving us a bit of activity now. See, this waterbuck is now starting to look around a bit more. So I don't think it can see the predator anymore at all. But I'm fairly certain, give it about half an hour to an hour, and the little waterbuck will come out of the water. All the grebes are coming towards us. All the little grebes. So nice when the sun hits them. Actually beautiful birds. Joy, we haven't seen any other waterbuck. So not really too sure where the mother would be. They would join up a little bit later. Just think whatever was hunting it dispersed the whole herd. So it's really tough for me to tell you now where exactly the rest are. Yeah, we tried to drive in here as quickly as possible and just found the hyena. Not really any sign of anything else. But see, being waterbuck, they won't be too far from water. And I think the rest of the herd would probably just come around the northern side now. So we are actually very close to the northern side. very curious about what chased it in here. I think timing-wise, if we were here a minute before, we would have seen everything. Oh, the hippo's approaching us now. Ah, there's the baby. Sushi, absolutely hippopotamus sleep in the water. Like this waterbuck, its safety zone is in water, so they will spend their day just sleeping in the water. And then at night, they'll go out and feed. Actually known, they could walk quite far distances. There's another baby hippo next to this hippo that just popped its head up. I'm trying to show you that. But yeah, so they feel safe in water, and hence why they'll sleep there. Actually, often, not around here really, but if you go to the Delta in Botswana or some of the bigger lakes, you'll find them just lounging around in mud, often on the banks of rivers or big watering holes. Did you get the baby hippo? Yeah. It's such a cute little head.
You can see the bow wave quite well.
Shay, that waterbuck is standing, and it's not really that tall, so where it's standing, probably about, I don't know, 60, 70 centimeters, maybe a little bit more, maybe 80 centimeters. But I think if you go more towards the midsection, it will probably reach about 1.5 meters. So we won't be fully submerged when we're standing on our feet, but it does get rather deep. This dried up completely last year. There was absolutely no water here at all. So yeah, it's deep enough for a hippo to disappear, or in certain sections. But where the waterbuck is standing, it's not really too deep at all. Okay, so we're gonna maybe drive around here a little bit more, see if we can find anything else. Then we'll leave this little waterbuck so it can come out. But for now, I'll send you back to Lauren, who's got a giraffe.
I have 4 giraffes. I have 3 giraffes here. You may not be able to see them all. And another one just slightly up ahead. And I think this is the same sort of tower or journey of giraffes that we see around quarantine every day. Now, I have to tell you what I've been up to. I am very, very suspicious. There's vultures everywhere in this area. So like I mentioned earlier, when you see one, it's not really a cause for concern. But when you start to see a lot of vultures, Davi and I also saw vultures yesterday. I'm beginning to wonder if something is dead in that block. So Owen and I took a little bit of a gamble. We poked our nose in, but we didn't manage to see too much. But I'm still convinced someone is in there with something dead. That's the extent of my knowledge at this present moment. But I think I'm going to keep hanging around this area. With the number of vultures that we are seeing, I definitely feel there's something. Or there has been something. But I wanted to stop first and admire these beautiful giraffes. Hello, girl. I bet you know what's in there. Giraffes know all, see all. A leopard wouldn't be an immediate threat to a giraffe. They wouldn't like it. They wouldn't be happy with the leopard's presence. But it's really not a concern for a giraffe. Lions, on the other hand, would be a different story. You see the fork-tailed drongo, Owen? It's flying around that second one. These drongos are everywhere. Following the giraffes, hoping for some insects. So you see how the giraffes are bending down there? It sort of immediately disproves the theory that giraffes evolved long necks to reach the tops of trees. They can reach the tops of trees. It's probably wonderful. But that's not really the reason that they evolved these glorious long necks. It's said to be more for sexual selection. Look at me. Look at my neck. That's also been disproved. If the males are trying to impress the ladies, I don't think the ladies are going to be very impressed because they also have long necks. So it's not entirely sure why this sort of evolution of the vertebrae took place. Savannah? Was that correct? You're 7 years old in Sydney, Australia. And I think you're asking me, do animals lose their teeth? Okay, Owen's nodding. I'm having terrible problems with my earpiece. Owen and I had a bit of a moment where my earbud got stuck in the ear. We got the first aid kit out, we had to get the tweezers out, and Dr. Odell had to go into my ear and get the earbud out. Yes, it wasn't pleasant. I'm just going to go up ahead, Owen. I think there's a giraffe just right here. We might get nice and close. It depends what animals, Savannah. So mammals, we are also mammals, remember? There's another one. Normally do have two sets of teeth, just like us. So we obviously have our baby set of teeth, our milk teeth, that we lose, and then our adult teeth come through. So some mammals have that, but not all. For elephants, for example, they have a milk set of teeth and they lose them. But then, talking about other animals, sharks, for example, many sharks will lose their teeth. They lose lots of teeth because they continually grow. It's a never-ending cycle. Sharks have rows and rows and rows of teeth that help them be awesome at being sharks, and they lose them continuously. So you will always find shark teeth on the bottom of the ocean if you go diving or snorkeling. So Savannah, some animals do, yes, but not all. It would really depend on what animal you're actually talking about. Now, my plan to go ahead for a better view has not really worked. Yeah, I was trying to get this one. What about this one? Matt, you're 5 years old in Singapore and you're asking about the giraffe's back legs. I would love to give you a view of the back legs, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to do it from this angle. But it's just a knee joint. So it allows a giraffe to move in such a specific way. So we also have a knee joint, but you're right, they do bend backwards. Now look at the awkward shape of a giraffe and the size of a giraffe. They're very, very heavy animals. They need to make sure they walk in such a way that they stay balanced, or else they would topple over. Imagine if you kept seeing giraffes toppling over all the time. It may actually be quite funny, but after a while, they need to stay upright. So a male can weigh anywhere between 1,000 to 1,400 kilograms as a very, very heavy animal. So therefore, they have their front legs bend, the knee joint bends forward, and the back legs, the knee joint bends backwards. And this is to support the animal and keep it balanced. Now, if you ever look at the way a giraffe walks, it's very interesting, and it's the same as a camel. That's where their Latin name stems from. They move both legs, front and back, on each side at the same time, rather than opposites. So for example, they'll move the right front and the right back together, then they'll move the left front and the left back together. And this is a really, really specialized method to keep an animal like this upright and balanced. So well done. That was a great question. You noticed the knee joints of a giraffe. I was hoping we could try and show you one walking, but they're not being very cooperative this morning. But they do walk in a very, very unique way. I think this one, we may see it walking on. Or not. It's all females. We have females in front of us. You see? So right, right, left, left. Right, right, left, left. Whereas most other animals walk slightly different from that. They will walk with opposites. You see that? It's the exact same walking as a camel. Okay, I think we're going to say goodbye to our giraffes because I really believe there is something that we have to find. We're going to do a bit of a turn in just a moment. I think there is a leopard on a kill somewhere. Whether we find it or not, that's a different story, but I will try. Okay, Owen, are you ready to do a U-turn? You've got to love your U-turns out here. So all the vultures were around here. Now they got a bit startled with our vehicle, but they're here for a reason. And I want to find out what that reason is. Leave no stone unturned out in the bush. All the impalas are over here as well. I'm slightly suspicious about that. Why are you guys all the way over here? Natalie, are you still there? It's very, very quiet and I'm having such problems with my earpiece. I just want to check that the director is still awake. Aha, she's there. And apparently I have got to send you guys all the way back across to Mr. Henry.
We are driving along now, going through the central parts of Djuma. We had the reports of the Talamati Pride. There is a starling on the road. And the Talamati Pride is on Biffle's Hook, which is the reserve north of us, as I was explaining. They are reclining not on a buffalo kill, so I have no idea what went on here last night. There were buffalo on Djuma, they've gone north. The lions did not come down here. Maybe there's another buffalo somewhere that met up with some other lions. Oh, it's so peaceful to stop and listen. That is the Birchall starling you're looking at.
Okay, guys, we're going to leave the pride here.
Sorry about that. Game Drive Radio. Hello, Max. No, it's not very dangerous to walk outside the car. You've got to be careful. You look around very carefully before you get out of the car. It's just like if I was living in a city. You wouldn't just get out the car in the traffic and walk, would you? You'd look outside first, be careful, open the door, and then you could be fine. And so it's the same kind of thing. I would make sure that there were no animals around that I might give a fright to, or who might give me a fright. And then it's safe. You always have to be careful. Can't be complacent. Must always make sure that the surrounds are safe. But it's just the same as getting out of the car in the middle of a city. You always look around. You wouldn't just get out of the car, would you? Civet had a party here last night. There is some mongoose on the top of that mound. I don't know why they like that noise, but they think it's quite funny. There we go. Our little dwarf mongoose. And they love this time of the day because it's just warming up a little bit. And actually those two are stragglers because all around the car I can see other mongoose. They're already out foraging. cool. I'll go off and start foraging soon, I'm sure. Looking for insects and things. And if you can hear, just above them, there's a long-billed crombeck going. And it might be alarming slightly at them. Kimberly, the most entertaining animal to watch? I think baboons, probably. I mean, obviously it's amazing to watch any kind of cub, so lions or leopard cubs. But if you want to be guaranteed entertainment any time of the day, a baboon troop is what you want to watch. They are doing something ridiculous always. And I think, was it Eric yesterday had an unbelievable sighting of some baboons, and it went on for ages because they just are always doing something fascinating. So probably baboons, if you want guaranteed entertainment. Obviously everybody loves to see the predators, including me, but for large periods they just do nothing. Whereas baboons are always busy. These guys are also great too. They're always inquisitive, curious, cute, busy. That's quite interesting because they are obviously tiny. And because they're tiny, they have to try and avoid any kinds of extreme weather. If it's too hot, they'll overheat. If it's too cold, they'll freeze. And so they live in these insulated termite mounds. And they've got a number of these lifted around the place. And they are, I guess we'll have the story a bit later. Let's go back across to Rowan. He's got a waterbuck update for you, apparently, up at andBeyond in Ngala. Okay, apparently you're going to stay with me now. So, as I was saying, they are smaller than, they're very small, and so they lose heat very quickly and they gain heat very quickly, and so they live in termite mounds because they're insulated, and they've got a number of refuges around their little territories where they can take refuge if it's really hot in the middle of the day. They'll use the shade a lot. You won't find them out lying in the sun on a really hot, low-felt summer day. And I always find that quite interesting because it's one of the reasons they come out late, especially in the winter. They'll come out pretty late, only once the sun is able to warm them, because they have to be quite careful of their heat balance. And you'll find the same thing with most animals of that size. They often use a burrow or a termite mound to take refuge in, and it's largely because they are very vulnerable to huge changes in temperature. A beautiful example of that is the ground squirrel of the Kalahari, which has few specialized desert adaptations. So it's not like it can cope with extreme cold, or because it does get extremely cold at night there in the winter in desert. It's not like it can cope with extreme heat either, but it has various mechanisms by which it copes with those extremes of temperature by going underground most of the time. All right, let's go across to Rowan now and see what's happening there.
So it is a happy ending. The little waterbuck, I don't know if you can see just behind the mom there, but yeah, you can see the bum, and they've joined up again. There's still a hyena here just on the right. They're back Marcel that's been, following this waterbuck. So quite interesting. We're just watching this whole scenario play out. So I think it might have actually been the hyena that chased it into the water. So we're just watching all of this from the other side. But luckily the little one is out of the water and with its mom and also a big dad. The bull, the waterbuck bull, is watching the hyena quite intently as well. The way the hyena is lifting its head and sniffing around, it almost makes me think that there might be something different in this area, maybe something else, maybe some sort of other predator that caused the commotion. Here, Impala's ratting in the back. It's a standoff. It didn't take long for this waterbuck to find the bigger ones. Natalie is just very happy that it's back with its family. I think everyone is. Safely got out the water and found mom. It was amazing to watch it swim across. Marcel even commented it's a very fast swimmer. And they are incredible swimmers. Never seen a big male swim, but quite a few youngsters. Very, very fast.
It's been on my list.
It's been on Marcel's list to see a waterbuck swimming. So a big check there.
Next up is the elephant snorkeling.
Next up he wants to see an elephant snorkeling. To be honest, I don't think you'll see an elephant snorkeling in this particular watering hole. Not really deep enough. Really, it's just a standoff. No animal has, well, the big male's moving now, but otherwise hyena is like glued to its position. You can hear elephants behind us. A bit of a trumpet going. So Natalie says quite a few people are asking what is the white ring around their tail. So we've spoken a lot about follow me signs. You'll find giraffe have the white around or behind the ears. Leopards have the black tips. Lions have the black tips and the black pom-pom. Leopards have a white tip on the tail. All of these are just follow me signs. Black and white, two colors that stick out the most in the bush. Actually white more so than black. So again, it's when the mom runs away, the baby is supposed to follow the white ring. I always joke about it. I always say it's very cruel of Mother Nature to paint a target on the bum of one of these animals. But hey, what can you do? I think a lot of South Africans would say that they went and sat on a newly painted toilet. And that's majority of the time what I hear from my South African guests, should they come visit me at andBeyond in Ngala. Banshee has asked if hyenas can swim, and yes, indeed they can. Not the best swimmers. I don't think they're as good as a waterbuck, but any animal out here can swim that I know of. I think, again, it's just, you call it just natural. It's, literally any animal out here could be able to swim. You often find hyena on a very hot day, they'll come and they'll lie down in a watering hole. Not in the middle with the hippos, but they'll lie on the side But yeah, they can swim. I just think they'll choose not to swim. Here comes the baby and the mom out to drink now. And the male is also coming back. I mean, they choose not to swim. Also, the hippos would most probably kill hyena if it had to swim through the water here. So they'll be very, very careful of that. I always wonder what goes through this baby's mind. You know, it just ran away, it escaped death, most probably, you know, landing up in the water like that. But what is it thinking now? Am I safe with mom? Am I okay? It's just literally everything out here. It's a celebration to survive another day. It's a big male, hey Marcel? What a good looking male, that. Beautiful reflection of all these animals. See, the water's very still. There's no breeze, no wind coming through. Just a little grebe making a bit of a line. Looks like the female heard something on her right. So to our left. She's facing in that direction. I can't hear anything. But of course her ears are a lot bigger than mine. She'll be able to hear things from a very long distance away. John B. asking if any of the bigger antelope will ever fight a predator. Absolutely. Anything out here, if its life is at stake, they'll fight. They'll put up a big fight. And we've lost quite a number of leopards to that, being injured by bigger antelopes or the horns. Also, there are countless YouTube videos of mothers protecting their babies. So yes, absolutely. Anything threaten its life and it will fight to survive. Now the baby's listening while the mom is drinking. It's funny, it's like they take turns in listening, picking up their heads. Can't see the hyena anymore. This has disappeared on us. I'm very glad the baby's out the water. I was feeling quite bad for it. It looked cold. Natalie's very happy with the happy ending. It's been quite a morning.
Who's happy ending?
Got a very small waterbuck here. You can see not even half of mom's size. Very cute seeing both of them together like that, right next to each other. Rather impressive antelope, especially the. Natalie says that Kirsten is wondering why is it still drinking water, because surely by now it's drank enough. I think while it was standing in the water, it actually forgot to drink to rehydrate. It's just, it must have been so scared. Of course Kirsten's wondering. But now it's going to be fine. Yes, it's gone very quiet. It's actually such a peaceful spot to sit. That's a beautiful reflection. Just hear impalas ratting in the background, but the hippos have gone quiet. The waterbuck aren't making a sound at all. Nice peaceful spot. See how the mom is actually walking into the water. So you don't really find that with any other antelope, it's just the waterbuck. Majority of the other things will just stick to the side Okay. Well, it seems like Lauren's already found an elephant, so we're going to send you to her on Djuma.
I found one elephant, a youngster, who I don't think is old enough to be on its own. I think this is a female as well. So where's the rest of the herd? I don't know. So I'm purposely trying to scan around continuously here and just listen. I don't want to get in the way between this youngster and the rest of the herd. We got a little trumpet. Oh, let's quickly go over to James for a surprise.
That, everyone, is a Miller's mongoose. Either that or it's a slender mongoose that's lost its tail. Its tail does look pretty short, but it looks a bit thicker than a slender mongoose. I'm going to call Miller's mongoose on that. We had a lovely view of it for quite a while, and then naturally it decided to head off. Ha! That's really cool. I came round the corner here. It looks like a yellow mongoose, but I don't think we get yellow mongoose here. I think they're now largely found in the Kalahari. But I think that was a Miller's mongoose. Did you? Good. Well, we'll examine it when we get home. I do think maybe that the back of its tail was missing. But it looked quite thick set, I thought. Anyway, we'll have another look when we...
Wow, a Miller's mongoose. James, that's very impressive. I don't think I've seen a Miller's. We actually have many different mongoose species, but I've only ever seen the white-tailed, the slender, the dwarf, the banded. I've not been so lucky. This little one thinks she's hiding, but we can see you. I'm just convinced, as I mentioned earlier, the rest of the herd is somewhere. I don't want an angry matriarch approaching us. So I'm just continually swiveling in my chair to make sure. Oh, actually, I saw a tree move up ahead, and trees don't move, in case any of you are unsure of that. If they are moving, then something's making it move, and most likely an elephant. So I think the rest of the herd is actually further ahead. Now, we left the area with the vultures. We circled and we circled. We went in. We hit stumps. We drove up termite mounds. No luck. I'm still convinced somebody's there. But when you don't have tracks or you don't have any indications of maybe sound, it's like a needle in a haystack, I'm afraid. But Trishala and Owen had male leopard tracks going into that exact block not so long ago. I think Trishala thought it was Hukamuri, but it could also be Mulwati. So very, very possibly they made a kill. And that's the vultures just swooping in now. You are just gorgeous. I know you're secretly smelling me. She's hiding behind that weeping wattle there. I wonder if we just drive up ahead. The rest of the herd have to be here. Especially females, they really don't travel too far from the herd. Yeah, she's walking away. Let's see if we can just go up and see who was making that tree move. Has to be someone. And this is very, very thick, this sort of block, and the road's very narrow. So this is why I want to just be really, really cautious that I'm not going to run the corner into an elephant. I am excited for the vegetation to recede ever so slightly. It's going to make finding the animals a lot easier. Where's the rest of the herd? Okay, I'm going to try and find my elephants, and as I do that, we are going to send you across to Miss McCurdy at Eco Training Kurongwe. Oh, sorry about that. Apparently Taylor was quiet. She's lost her audio. Well, I hope she finds it soon and comes back, because Taylor is not one to be quiet. Well, I can't find the rest of my elephant herd. I wonder if maybe they're on the other side. I don't actually know. But I'm still being very, very cautious and driving slowly. I really have no idea where everyone else can be. Of course, young males go off on their own, but I'm sure that was a female. She was slightly smaller, young, too young to be on her own, even if it was a male. I didn't see any genitalia, I'm afraid, because she was hidden behind the bush, but I could see that angular forehead. So I think it was a young female. We're near Treehouse. I wonder if the rest of the herd are drinking at Treehouse. It's also possible. I know, they've just flown away. I think we just had a pair of cuckoos. Cuckoo! But they've gone. Sorry, Owen. James always gets very lucky with cuckoos. I find them really difficult to put on camera. And just like that, no large grey bodies. Okay, let's head to the southern boundary. We've done the western boundary. It's time to do the southern boundary and see who's been moving down south. Here we are. Boundary lines are my favourite to check. They're the least aesthetically pleasing. Lots of vehicle traffic on a normal daily basis, but this is where you learn the most about animal movements. You can see everything on the road ahead is so smooth other than vehicle tracks. So the minute someone does move, be it a leopard, a lion, wild dogs, you see the tracks immediately, especially with the sun at this low angle. Doesn't mean you're going to find the animal, but it does mean that you sort of know where things are moving. Popping into Chitwa. Every single time I want to pop into Chitwa, something happens. I find an animal. I never quite get there. But Chitwa's a really good property to explore, especially since Kuchava and cubs are on my list. Dylan from Arizona. Yes, we do have rhino. We have lots, actually. We have the most incredible little family that we see almost every day. We have white rhino. There's different species of rhino. You get the black rhino, for example, up in the Masai Mara. But the white rhino, we have lots of them here. But I'm afraid, due to high levels of poaching, rhinos are killed, I'm afraid, for their magnificent horn, which is used in traditional medicine throughout Asia. They are protected. So there's an anti-poaching team here, and they do incredible work. I cannot even begin to tell you the sacrifices these people make. It's not easy. They sleep out in the wilderness. They do everything they can to protect our rhinos. And it's the rules that we just don't show them on camera. If we show them, we may advertise their presence. But it's a well-known fact that there's lots of rhino in the Kruger. We do get rhino here, but we just don't show them on camera. I'm afraid, hopefully one day that'll change. I hope so. I hope the rhino situation does become more positive. The anti-poaching team's work is a success, and we can show you rhino. We can talk about them, but unfortunately we just can't show you them, and it's a shame because they are magnificent. I had a sighting with Mr. Tungana and Owen actually not so long ago, and it wasn't the best visuals, I have to say. He was up a tree on a different property, but we could hear the most bizarre noise coming from the bottom of the tree, and I really it was so far away I couldn't grasp what it was, but it was actually 3 rhino that came out from underneath the tree, and unfortunately we couldn't show it to you. But we do have them. We just need the populations to get healthier. They are protected, but sadly illegal poaching is very prominent in this area. And the horn has no medicinal value as per science. So hopefully one day the world will change their opinion on rhino horn. Okay, I'm going to continue my check of the southern boundary. Something will pop up, I know it. And as I do that, we are going to send you back across to Rowan and andBeyond in Ngala for an update.
So we've left the waterbuck family. Quite a traumatic morning for that youngster, I think, but all good now. Found mom, found dad. So we left them at the watering hole. We waited quite a while for the elephants, but nothing popped up there. So now we're just driving around and seeing whatever else we can find. For now, just lots of Impala tracks, a few warthog tracks, but we haven't seen warthogs yet. But, ooh, smells like honey badger there. It's quite a strong, not very pleasant smell. What do you think, Marcel? You saw that? A whiff of it. Yeah, not very strong. It's not like, I don't think they're still in that area. But maybe something happened there and it caused the honey badger to put out that scent. Really not pleasant. Shawshank has asked, what is the best time of year to visit Ngala? For me personally, any time from now up until end of August. It's just that it's winter time, so it's cold in the mornings. I mean, this morning you would want to wear gloves, beanie, 2 layers and a blankie. Marcel's still wearing his. But there's very little chance of rain, which is nice for us because, of course, during rainy season, if it rains more than 20 milliliters, we cannot go off-road because we compact the soil too much, and it's very thick, lots of ticks, lots of mosquitoes. So I prefer winter safari time to summer safari time. However, I must say that maybe photography wise, summertime is glorious because it's the green grass, green bushes, and everything kind of just pops out on a photo. Although for Marcel, there's always a stick in front of a leopard's face. Clearly you've not spent enough time here yet. Although we haven't seen a leopard in quite some time either. That would be quite nice. Let me see what's been walking here. Lots of birds. Lots of those ground birds look like Franklin tracks. How cool, it's a little arrows, so their toes are like that, and then one back. I think must be quite serious. They'll be able to attack you quite badly with those claws. What's your favorite time of year for safari? Okay, so Marcel, very wise answer, very diplomatic, says, I do not have a specific time of year or favorite for safari. It depends on what you want to see. So absolutely, each to his own. Summer's amazing for birding. Indeed, summer is amazing for birding. So yeah, it does depend what you want to see. So now it's quite fun. Well, it should actually be quite fun because it's ratting season for Impala, which means a lot of leopards will kill Impala, or should. Pratan in India, are honey badgers related to skunks? I don't think so. I think color-wise they look similar, scent-wise, but I don't think it's the same genus. Do you know? It's not the same genus. So no, although they look rather similar, the honey badger is known for its aggression, but like a Tasmanian devil. Thought I heard something, but I don't think so. So we didn't actually see the honey badgers, we just smelt them. I've now not seen a honey badger for 4 months. Oh, okay. So Lauren's got a mongoose, sorry. I'm going to send you back over to Djuma and Lauren.
We have some mongoose dwarfies. They're just wakening up. They've all got bed head and pillow face. I know the feels. I think we all know the feels. And they're just starting to see what's going on around them. There was one sitting perfectly on the top of the mound. I want it to come back again. Now, we don't come to the same mound every single time to look for the business of mongoose because they change mounds. They will run to sleep in the nearest mound to where they are at that moment the sun is setting within their territory. They have a network, they have a collection of mounds that they scent mark, and they know within their territory that they can utilize any day. Now, they're the slowest animals to wake up. Can you just repeat that name, Natalie? Elodie, you're from Singapore, and you're asking what they eat. All mongoose species are slightly different, but this is a dwarf mongoose. And the dwarf mongoose, the closest relative of the hyena, are actually ferocious predators. And they eat a huge collection of animals, if you like, from insects, including termites, locusts, beetles, centipedes, arachnids like scorpions and spiders, snails, yummy, reptiles, including small lizards, geckos. I've never seen them eat a leopard tortoise, but I believe they do, the younger ones, and they eat eggs. So they will eat bird eggs, reptile eggs, any eggs that they stumble across. So they're so sweet looking, but they are actually ferocious predators. The smallest carnivore that we get out here. Oh, and there's one sitting right on the top. Hello, king of the castle. They're looking at us. Again, Natalie, you're speaking very fast this morning. One more time with that name. Aha. Lincoln. I think Natalie's had a lot of coffee this morning. I'm very jealous. I wish I had had that amount of coffee. And you're asking, are the mongoose related to meerkats? We don't actually get any meerkats out here, sorry, but they're not directly related. They're both in the order Carnivora, but they're in completely different families. So the mongoose are in the Herpestidae family, which includes all the different mongoose species, and the meerkats are in an entirely different family. I think it's a Suricata family, if I'm not wrong, and they're not related. Closely related, not closely related, but they are both Carnivora, order Carnivora. They say that the yellow mongoose, not the dwarfy, but the yellow mongoose is very similar looking to the meerkat, or the most similar looking of all the mongoose species, but they're not that similar related. And although they can live sympatrically in similar areas, the meerkats are not found here, I'm afraid, which is a shame. I would really, really love to see meerkats. You can see the hornbills are flying over ahead as well. Dwarf mongoose and hornbills have a wonderful relationship out here. They do tend to work very, very close together in order to get delicious snacks. Neither are a threat to one another, so they seem to have a partnership. And when we first arrived at this mound, there was some hornbills, yellow-billed hornbills, almost as if they're communicating with the mongoose. Paul, you're asking, are they friendly? I'm not entirely sure what your definition of friendly is, but if you are inquiring whether they will interact with humans, then no. We have a lot of them in our camp, and they're very skittish. They will run as soon as a human sort of approaches. So they're not friendly, if that's what you are asking. But if you are asking if they're friendly to one another, then absolutely. They live in a very sort of communal, tight-knit society. They groom one another, they look after one another, and all members of the business, if you like, will contribute to looking after the alpha pair's offspring. So they're very, very friendly to one another. They will look out for one another. They will warn each other from predators. Emma, you're 6 years old from Somerset West. You're asking, why do they have such small ears? I actually think they're quite normal-sized ears for their tiny little head. They're very, very small animals. We're looking at them from quite a distance away, but dwarf mongoose are really, really small. They don't weigh much, and they're not that long, especially if you compare them to other mongoose in the family. They're very, very small. They come in at about 300 grams, which is really nothing at all for an animal, and their body length is around 40 centimeters, which is really, really small. So their ears, I think, Emma, are quite proportional to their small little faces. They do have acute hearing, and their ears are sort of circular, concave shape, which help channel the sounds into that eardrum. What is this one? Are they tussling? Are they wrestling? I'm not sure either. We're starting to lose views of them now. I think they've had their caffeine injection, and it's time to go about their daily business on the other side of the termite mound. Okay, we're going to let our mongoose get on with their day, mongooses, and we are going to head into Chitwa and see what's going on down there. And you guys are going to head back across to James for an update.
Well, oh, there it is. The news on this side of the reserve is that there are tracks of a leopardess heading into Djuma from the eastern boundary. I can't tell if they've got cubs with them or not. I don't think so. Anyway, that's what's going on this side. We'll do the standard issue follow-up and see what we can see. And, well, I must say, in bush like this, unless they're on the road, the tracking is hit and miss. We'll stare into the boughs of the trees. We also heard some elephants around here. Nice to see them. But I haven't actually seen a grey elephant shape today. That's what's happening this end of the reserve. It is a glorious early winter's day now. I suppose I can say that, given that we're on the 1st of May. Really not bad going for winter. And I'm sure those of you in the Northern Hemisphere are quite looking forward to some warmer temperatures. Yeah, no, didn't get that, I'm afraid. Natalie, all I got it, how did your book skunk galek go? I don't understand. Oh, right. Alec is wondering about my boktrol spook. I still haven't done boktrol spook. I suppose I should do that at some stage for you. I'm not sure how entertaining it'll be, but I can do some boktrol spook at some stage. I was just explaining yesterday morning that boktrol spook is a South African game. We're well known for coming up with spectacular games. A real kind of, they've taken off internationally, like Yukske, otherwise known as throw a stick at another stick, and boktrol spook, which is antelope dung spit. And well, I need to find some antelope dung and then I can do it for you. And amazingly, I don't seem to be able to find antelope dung. But I will definitely do it for you. I'm not too bad at boktrol spook. When we had the Bush Olympics competition some 4 years back, during the last Olympics, I think I got the silver medal for the boktrol spook. I don't remember who the winner was. Maybe it was the bronze. Ah, yes. Kirsten thinks that the boktrol spook was in fact won by a foreigner, no less, the inimitable Hayden Turner, now of Taronga Zoo in Australia, Sydney, Australia. Let's go down this way. Yeah, I'm afraid the clutch on this vehicle has pretty much died now. I think we'll be lucky to get home, but there's a very nice picture of a hippo. Behold, a hippo. Is it not pretty? Has it not gone? I always find a bird like the hippo connects us from around the world. Yeah, no, that's it, I'm afraid. The Mahindra is going to remain right here, where it is. This is me hinting, Natalie. we're going to have to go across to Rowan now. This car no longer starts, I'm afraid. So let's go to Rowan. And I guess, you know, if you do see us again, we'll be in exactly the same place.
Oh no, James is stuck. How did you manage to do that? Still nothing on our side though. It's been, but at least we're not stuck. Marcel said that, I was just repeating. Yeah, rather quiet morning. I know Pete is walking around on the reserve, so he started his exposure, his awareness walks today. So what that entails is we drop him off, not me, but Yapi and Nikki dropped him off this morning, and he starts at a particular point and he needs to complete a route so that he gets to know all the roads and like little landmarks which trees are going, and then he also needs to keep a bird list and all of that. So every hour he lets us know what's going on, what he's seen, what he's heard, and then of course if he comes across tracks, Pete will also radio me, which is quite fun. I remember the freedom of those walks are just absolutely phenomenal, because of course it's you by yourself with a radio, a rifle, some sandwiches, water, a bird book and a tree book, and that's basically you for the rest of the day. Spent about 10 hours out in the bush, and you just listening, you smelling, and you just having the greatest time ever. I know for a lot of you it might seem scary, but I'll be honest, for anyone that wants to work in this field, it's the most freedom you'll ever have out here. So well done, Pete. It's day number 1 of 10 for his walks today. Righty, so we are still just looking for absolutely anything. Nothing particular or particular plan at all. Amelie, did you ask what's the worst time of year to go on safari? I can't say there's a bad time to ever be on safari. So we just stopped. All these impalas are, I'm just looking to the right. I don't know whether it was a male ratting or whether one was alarm calling. There's a giraffe though. So let's see what the giraffe is looking at. He's also looking at the impala. Yeah, I think when you're on safari, you're bound to have a good time. Okay, so it was a male impala ratting. He's just hopped across the bush now. I can't really say there's a worse time of year. It's always nice to be out on safari. Come rain, come shine, we'll take you out. So I know with us, we have no covers for the vehicles. So we drive through the rain, which sometimes gets a little bit cold, but you know, it's part of the experience. It's a good looking male, this looks very strong. Oh, it's a nice little hop from that female. All there is, all of them are staring at the giraffe. Jealousy makes you nasty. I can't see any predator here, any movement in the grass at all. But they should be careful of. So I think it's just the male that was making that sound. Of course, the start of their ratting sound is that psh, psh, which sounds a lot like an alarm call. So often during these times, if you hear that, you need to stop and just listen for at least sometimes 20 seconds before they start that gargling sound. That sound I'm not going to imitate, just for your own health. But yeah, turns out no alarm calling here. Oops. No, talking about times on safari, good or bad, I've been stuck in a hailstorm before as well. That wasn't too much fun. But, you know, what ends up happening is you get back to the lodge and everyone is so exhilarated about the rain or the hail and everything. So You know, you can make literally any time into a fun time if you want, because then, of course, what will happen is if you think you're getting stuck in a hailstorm or it starts raining, you'll need to drive faster, which brings a lot of excitement to the drive and, of course, to any of our guests. Okay, so while we're still just looking around for really anything, it seems Lauren has arrived at Chitwa Dam, so we're going to send you over to her.
Peaceful here, everyone. Look at it. Owen and I are just taking it in for a moment. It's quiet. There's not many animals around, but it's gorgeous. We've got an African darter in the same place I had it the other day, right in the middle of the dam. And I need to slap myself on the wrist. I've already slapped myself on the wrist. I'm so sorry. Meerkats are part of the Herpestidae family. Suricata is their genus name. I knew there was something wrong when I said that. I said Suricata and I thought something's wrong with that. It's the genus, not the family. My bad. I am sorry. I will punish myself. Sometimes you get a bit muddled up with the Latin names, especially when you're running on a lack of caffeine. I'll use that as my excuse. But yes, they are in the same family, which means meerkats and mongoose are very closely related. They're both part of Herpestidae. There's two different clades of Herpestidae, but Suricata, is the genus name for meerkats. So yes, they are closely related. Off we go, Owen. On you go, on you go. Nicely done, O-Dog. The African darter is skimming right above the water. You see that? Skimming all the way across to the other side of the dam. Wow.
James, come in for firing.
Oh my goodness, that was very loud, everyone. I'm going to turn that down. And we also have the hippos. You see the bubbles underwater? It's not a jacuzzi, it's the hippopotami. And believe it or not, Chitwa Dam, for those of you that are maybe new to watching us, used to be filled to the brim with hippos, far, far exceeding the natural carrying capacity, for this dam. Far too many hippos. What is that, Owen?
Looks like a baby.
Shadulu fan, you're asking something about leopards. I will get back to you, Shadulu fan. Are you a fan of Shadulu? Me too. Leopard of the sea. I'm going to need to get Natalie to confirm that that is the question. Natalie? Okay, Natalie is not responding. I don't know if we've... Leopard of the sea. I have no idea what you mean, Shadulu fan. I am utterly baffled at that question. What is a leopard of the sea? I have no idea. There is a leopard shark. It's also called the zebra shark sometimes. But there is... I'm going to go with leopard shark because I'm really not entirely sure what you mean, Shadulu fan. I'm sorry. I'm not doing very well this morning, am I? You are welcome to re-explain that question, and I will do my best, but I really have no idea what you mean. But they do get a leopard shark, which is really, really beautiful. Let me see if I can bring up a photo of it. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible, but I shall try. Leopard shark. And it's not one of the sort of big, dangerous sharks that you would maybe commonly know, but it is also called a zebra shark. So it depends which terminology you do wish to use. I've got a nice photo here for you, Owen. We can just quickly turn around. I'll get my porcupine around because I love having a porcupine. This was Davi's idea, actually. This is a leopard shark, and it's absolutely stunning. It's more of a ground dweller that would sort of spend its time resting on the sand. You can see by the body shape and the tail. It's very similar to a nurse shark. Any of you that are familiar with sharks. It's very closely related to another shark too, but this is a leopard shark. So I don't actually know what you're asking me, Shadulafan, but that is my answer. That is a leopard shark. Now the dam's very quiet, so we're going to go over the wall, have a little peek around here, and then I'm going to search around because this is Kuchava territory. Chitwa very much belongs to Kuchava. Sabui sometimes uses it too, but I do feel that Sabui has shifted her territory since having cubs. I can't confirm that, but just based on where she's being sighted, that's what I feel has happened with Sabui, which is entirely normal for a new mother. So I'm just going to search the area. We may get lucky. No one else is on this property, it's just us. Which means that if there is an animal there, then no one's spotted it. So we really could get lucky with Kuchava. One of these days, I'm going to get lucky with my favourite leopardess. Or my second favourite leopardess, of course. Klalamba has to be my number one. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with Mr. Hendry, but I believe I am sending you across to him for an update on his situation.
We managed to get the vehicle into second gear, and then we started it, and so we're heading gently towards camp where we will get some clutch fluid, and that will hopefully sort us out for the next 40 minutes of drive or so. I'm not sure if it will. I have a nasty suspicion that the reason there's no clutch fluid in the car is that some pipe has become detached from where it's supposed to be, because I checked it yesterday and it seemed to be fine. There are some wildebeest. We're going to go straight past them. We'll wave gently as we go. Good morning. We'd love to stop, but can't currently. We have to go home. We have a clutch problem. Sorry. It's not an insult to your magnificence. Yes. And the others that side. It'll have to be quite a spectacular sighting for me to stop, because whether we'll get started again is another question entirely. And unfortunately, during these times of lockdown, our mechanic has been at home, and so that's why we're on the Mahindra and not one of the other Land Rovers. And not only that, we can't actually get any spare parts. No, I missed that one, sorry. Can we have it again from Amelie in Singapore? Oh, do we get stuck a lot of the time? No. No, those of us who don't drive very well are renowned for getting stuck. I have been known to get stuck in my time, yes. But generally around here we don't get very stuck very often. There's not a lot of mud. Mud is the thing that normally gets you stuck, unless you drive into a hole, which can also make you very stuck. I see the elephants have been here. They've pulled out the exit sign for Tumbeta camp. They just haven't been around me today. Anyway, we're nearly home. Okay, as we head home, we'll go back up to andBeyond and Ngala, where I believe Rowan will give you an update as to his plans. I'd love to know what happened to that lioness and her cubs.
Welcome back. Oh, there's that's quite strange. There's a hippo poo there, and the way they usually mark their territory is they'll stand with their bum into a bush, and it's actually quite funny to watch, but they've got the short tail, so while they poo, they'll scatter it like all over. And it's here, and we are rather far from any watering hole where there's a hippo inside, so I don't really know why it's marking its territory here. It's just strange to see. Lots of hyena tracks this morning. seen our fair share of hyena this morning, I think. It's always fun to see though. Okay, so it seems Lauren is still at Chitwa Dam, and she's got her own group of waterbuck, so we're going to send you there.
I have a gallon of waterbucks. I don't actually think that's the correct term, but someone once suggested it to me and I love it. We have young boys. 3 of them are males. 2 of them in the back are having a very tender interaction. How cute. Look at them. It's not real, it's not aggression. You can see they're very young by the size of their horns. Look at this one showing us his bum circle. You know, when I first arrived in the Masai Mara, and I saw these subspecies, the Dufasa waterbuck. So still a waterbuck, still the same species, since we've been talking about the level of animals, but it's a different subspecies. And subspecies is when the organism in question is normally split up by geographical location. So in the Masai Mara, they're slightly different, and they do not have the bum circle. And it's terrifying. It's the most bizarre thing to see a waterbuck without that iconic, beautiful white bum circle, which is of course a follow me sign in the bush. And it's all in the name. You really rarely find waterbuck too far from water. You are beautiful, yes you are. This is a wide open space just behind Chitwa Dam. Another reason wild dogs love to come here, for the open clearance, similar to quarantine, and lots of prey. Well, at least someone's managed to find a leopard. It hasn't been me this morning, but Rowan has got some spots for you.
Actually, Marcel spotted this leopard, so kudos to Marcel. It's a young male, and actually, I have no idea who this is. Well, we've really not been able to see the face just yet. I wonder if it could be. It's too big for one of the Shitsalala youngsters. Although, saying that, I've not seen the Shitsalala youngsters in quite some time. So maybe it is. Finally. Yeah, it is. A very pink nose. Oh, that's wonderful. Look how much he's eaten. So hopefully the sister's here somewhere as well. Can see the tip of the tail just wagging. Got a fat little cat. Good job, Marcel. Thank you. And we were driving into this drainage line. I think, should I go left? Should I drive the drainage line? So, I don't know if you saw him now looking up. I wonder if there's a carcass still stashed here somewhere. You can definitely see big belly. And just sniffing around. But also very pink still on the nose. So definitely one of the youngsters. But it's been so long. I think last time we saw one of these youngsters was Sean still. On one of his first drives. So, what, over 3 weeks? Right, Marcel?
My second drive.
Yeah. So this is the Shitsalala young male, and I'm absolutely astounded by how much he's grown. He's just sniffing the bush there. Very, very pink little nose. Everything. It should be quite interesting to see where this sister is. Quite a nice view he's giving us as well. We are sitting basically on a slope now, and he's on the other slope. I think probably about 40 meters away from us now, and you could see he's not really disturbed by us at all. Very used to us. Something on that piece of grass smells rather nice to him. So I was trying to make sense of it by pushing the scent back into the organ of Jacobson. That's why he's giving you that smiley face. And he's just very happy to see us as well. Like we are very happy to see him. We're just discussing, like, what are we going to do this afternoon? You know, where should we go look? Where should we go look? And this always happens. I mean, that's why it's so hard for us to say whether mornings are better than afternoons or afternoons are better than mornings, because you literally just never know what you're going to find around the next corner. A beautiful cat, isn't he? So it lifts up the tail like that. So they often do that if there are any birds or anything in the area, especially ground birds, because they don't want them to alarm quite them. So it's almost saying, you know, I'm not here to hunt you. Hello, boy. Sonika has asked if siblings stay together for a long time. So Sonika, depends on circumstances. I'm just trying to get forward because now he's walked not far. But let's see, maybe the sibling, maybe the sister is here somewhere. So does that work? Perfectly. If the mom store around, it's very like things put together, and the mom or okay, let me try to be here. They'll stay mom for 2 years. Depends. We were discussing this a little bit earlier. Tell me when. Good. I was looking into this tree. So they'll stay with the mom for about 2.5 years, and then move off separate ways. But what we had, don't know if you were, maybe you listened into when we found Makoti Mal. So what happened with Makoti Mal is his mom died when he was only 13 months old, and he used to have a brother. So him and his brother stayed together for another 1.5 months, 2 months, and then both of them split off, went their separate direction. Because there's no bond of the mother still hunting and killing for them, they went off individually a lot quicker than they usually would. So it depends a lot on circumstances. And Marcel was saying that, who was it, Tundi's youngsters? And Djuma, apparently Mom has left them a lot earlier than we've had with the females around here. I am absolutely amazed by this little guy's size, how big he's grown in the last couple of weeks. That's a rather stocky leopard. And I stop just here. That works. I love the tail. I love the little swishing of the tail. So I'm fairly certain the sister would be here. They are still very young and they would still be together. I wouldn't even be surprised if the mom is here as well. Of course, if he goes up the bank, we're going to have to reverse. No? He wants to sleep a little bit. It's nice and cool here. Shreya has asked how often leopards hunt. Shreya, there is literally no clear answer for that. Leopards hunt when they are, or when the tuna presents off. Oh, yawn coming. There. Yeah, it's like every Tuesday they need something. And if the mom killed an Impala today.
Well, sorry about that. I think Rowan is also having signal issues. It's been a morning of issues. Lauren's brain, James and car, Taylor's signal, and what can Rowan's issue be? I think it's also signal, to be honest. Now we're just exploring Chitwa. It's very quiet, but I'm a firm believer that if you don't put the effort sightings on Chitwa in this area with Kuchaba. I haven't heard an update on where she is in a long time. Sometimes we get updates from neighboring properties, and I would really, really love to see her. She's my favourite leopardess, but I don't know why. She's got that Tandy, for those of you who maybe haven't met Kuchava, it's Tandy's daughter. She also has a cub of her own. She had two, but it's believed she lost one. And she's also got that Tandy fierceness, but also youth and beauty. She's stunning. She's really gorgeous. And her sort of territory is very much Chitwa and Torchwood. She never really crosses onto Djuma. I mean, occasionally, but it's always close to the eastern boundary. So we don't always get too lucky with Kuchava. But for me this morning, it's just worth trying. I'm still working on the territories map for you all with Yvonne. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I think it'll be worth it. And it will be my gift to you all if it's a success. If not, you'll get one of my hand-drawn maps. Oh! It appears we're slowly starting to fix our issues. My brain's getting there, and James is back out and about, and he's got a giraffe.
We are out and about. The train smash that I predicted in the internal workings of this aged and creaking vehicle were not nearly as bad as I thought they were going to be. It was just a little fluid top-up. I obviously didn't check them carefully enough yesterday, and so we're fine. Here we have got a lovely journey of giraffes. 2 lady giraffes, at least. I think it's probably 4 lady giraffes. And they're having a very pleasant walk across the clearings here. And the atmosphere of the morning is very much turning to that peaceful, lovely kind of early winter's feel of warmth that makes you just want to lie down in the sun and let time pass you by slowly. Beautiful. No, Milan in Durban, it definitely does not mean that. The giraffe's tail is purely used as a fly swatter. I don't think it's used for any kind of social signalling, so that swatting tail doesn't mean that the giraffe is angry at all, no. There are animals that display with their tails. Lions display with their tails. If they're angry, they'll flick the tail from side to side and actually propeller it around. It looks quite funny if you're not actually standing down a lion charge. Otherwise, it's extremely unfunny. Dogs obviously signal with their tails. Kudu will signal with their tails, but giraffes largely, I think, are using their tails only as hugely effective fly swatters. They're long and they've got that huge, kind of really extensive fly swatting type of fur on the end of it, and that seems to work really well for getting rid of flies and ticks and other kinds of parasites. So yes, a good question. And it would actually be very interesting to know, or to compile a list of some sort. Maybe you'd like to do that, Milan, if you're not going to school today, virtually of course. Maybe you'd like to compile a list of animals that signal with their tails and animals that don't. I don't know how into research you are. I don't think any of the monkeys signal with their tails. A lot of the antelope do, some don't. Some carnivores do, some don't. We've had a lot of very interesting discussions about tails of late and why they evolved at all. What is the purpose of a tail? And I was doing some reading yesterday, mainly about dinosaurs and birds, because we've had a lot of questions about dinosaurs, and a number of you have said, but birds are dinosaurs, and I have kind of heard it and not really understood it, and so I went and did some reading, and we'll discuss that later, but dinosaurs are indeed, birds are indeed dinosaurs. That's another discussion. But originally, reptiles and mammals shared a common ancestor, and I suspect quite strongly that that ancestor had a tail of some description. because reptiles have tails, so do fish, in fact, so do mammals, mostly. But I think that you'll find the function of those tails has diversified enormously, along with the diversification of mammals and reptiles. In the case of a bird, for example, the tail is used for flying. It's a massively important part of how a bird flies. And I think in mammals, the tail is probably used largely as a covering for the vulnerable parts of the body, and I think that's really why a lot of animals have it, because while it might be useful for signaling in some respects, a lot of animals don't use it for signaling, but it's a cover that covers up the really vulnerable parts of the body where ectoparasites like ticks and that sort of thing could easily get in if they wanted to. Amelie, you've picked up quite cleverly that the tongue of the giraffe is blue. Now, there are lots of theories about why it's blue, and the most, I suppose, likely one is that because the tongue spends such a lot of time out of the body and in the sun, it needs to have a covering of melanin, and that melanin protects it from the sun. That might be the answer. It seems a bit of a stretch to me, but it's not impossible. Better than that, I can't tell you, though. I'm not really sure why. But if, you know, I'm just trying to think of other animals and their tongues. An impala's tongue is the same color. You just don't see it because it doesn't stick it out and use it to pull leaves and things off trees. So impala's tongue's almost identical colored. So would a springboks be, I imagine. So would a wildebeest's. In fact, most grazing animals here have got black or blue tongues. And it's only the carnivores that seem to have the pink tongues. And birds, actually. A lot of birds have pink tongues. So I'm not sure of the melanin explanation. It might just be that there's no reason for it. The skin of an animal that color is the same kind of bluey black. And so I think it's quite highly likely that that just happens to be that color because that's the color of the skin. So that would be what I would say. Let's go across now to Rowan, who has got some very exciting kitty cat action up at Ngala.
So he's turned around and decided to face us, which is actually quite...
I think Rowan's not fixed his problem, but at least James has fixed his. And hopefully my brain will get better. I think we have quilias over here. Now I can see two of them just here. Owen, I'm pointing them out to you in the monitor. But they're not easy to get on camera. I don't think they're the red bills. What we were trying to hope was that you could see the entire flock flying together. It's quite a beautiful sight. But you see how difficult they are. Red-billed quilias are actually said to be the most numerous and common bird in the entire world, believe it or not. They're very, very common out here. They're just really not easy for us to put on camera. And I don't think the ones we're looking at are the red-bills. I can't get a good enough look. Oh! Well done, Owen. If you really want to make sure your cameraman's not sleeping, you put them on small birds like this. But Owen is well and truly awake. How many cups of coffee have you had, Owen? Owen's known for Mr. Coffee in camp. He drinks a lot of coffee. This is a red-billed. I've got a mixture of quilias here, I think. I was hoping to get them all in flight, but I think we missed that moment. Very, very small birds. Flighty. Don't stay still for very long. Now the red-billed quilias obviously have a red bill. Can you believe it? I know. It's astounding, really. But for the males, they go through different plumages. They go through a breeding plumage and a non-breeding plumage and a much sort of younger juvenile plumage. And not all males in their breeding plumage, but some of them can develop a really black face. So from having a sort of white face originally, all those feathers around the eyes and the beak can turn black when they're in their breeding plumage. I bet you'd wish you'd had another cup of coffee, oh dog. Okay, I think we shall leave these birds that are really not making our life very easy, and we are going to see if I can get my last minute leopard. I was just saying to Owen, there's been no tracks. There are no tracks for any leopards around. And I do wonder, sometimes I wish I could tag them. I never would, please don't get me wrong. There's a lot of moral and other considerations with that, but sometimes I just wish I could visually see their movements. I had a map maybe on my iPad and I could just see where they go. That really, really fascinates me. Animal movements, from migrations, which I've studied quite extensively in the ocean, to just general day-to-day movements of animals and why they move, including territories. It's one of my real passions. And sometimes I really believe there's days, Djuma's small, remember, it's not a large property. I really strongly believe there's days where there's not one single leopard on the property. So for example, Tandy will be in Torchwood, Tingana, Klalamba, up in Buffelshoek, Shadulu and Hook way west, and not one single leopard is on Djuma. I do believe we have days like that. And then of course they all appear. But if you don't see tracks, then there's no one around. Ian, oh, I don't know. I don't know why I'm always looking for leopards. I guess I'm not. But am I? Oh, Ian, you're throwing me under the bus here. I shouldn't. I try not to. I try to stop for everything, from birds to insects. I love my butterflies. I love my small things, some spiders. I try to stop for everything that I see, but I think it's been a recent development. I was actually saying this to Owen, where I've become very attached to the leopard, and I'm fascinated, by their movements. I don't actually know, Ian. You shouldn't. If I am doing that, then I apologise. You shouldn't always look for the predators. What I try to do is set out in the morning with no aims, no intentions, and just try to piece everything together. Okay, if you've got tracks, then look at the tracks. If you've not got tracks, then check your favourite area of the reserve. See if you can get movements. And of course, I really do love my hyenas too. So I try not to always look for leopards. Now, I have no idea what Natalie's saying, so I have to send you to someone. I don't know who it is, but let's make it a surprise.
We've got here the little grebes, and they've moved house to an older nest, and I think we can confirm that A, we've still got 2 babies, which is good news. The bad news being probably that the other 2 eggies didn't make it. Now, it strikes me that that's a particularly stupid place for the little grebes to be keeping their babies, on account of the fact that the monitor lizards, they're very close by there. But isn't that just delightful? And see how they're feeding them? Going to catch little insects, picking them up, taking them across to the little grebes. They're still building the nest as well. Somebody yesterday sent me a picture of a little grebe all the way from Sweden. So they occur in a vast number of places. I'm not sure what they do in the winter time in Sweden. Oh, they've gone under the water there. Did you see that? They did a little underwater swim. You're listening to a fork-tailed drongo currently. And both of them now trying to get up on the back. Want uppy, mummy, want uppy. Too cute. There we go. Bzzz. Off she goes. She go under with the babies. She did. She dived with the babies on board. Do you think she told them to hold their breath? Look at them sticking their heads out going... Oh, that's wonderful. That is just delightful stuff. No, I love wild dogs. I don't think they do. They don't go off and find a new nest like they would, or like a hyena or a wild dog might a new den. That nest was there before the one that they hatched these eggs on. So they might add to it now. Oh, that's just too gorgeous. Let's see if she does it again. Hold your breath, kids. Here we go. How funny. I wonder if she knows that when they're a certain age, they're able to do that. All right, we'll stay here, I think, with these little birds. We don't have much time left to drive, so let's go up to Ngala, where there is still some action with a cat.
So we try to position ourselves a little bit. I think we're struggling with signal, especially when we're down in a dip like this. But so we've still got him. We quickly checked the northern and southern, well, actually the eastern and western bank of the little riverbed that he's driving in, and we couldn't see the rest. But I'm fairly certain, I mean, at his age, the sister should still be here. So it might be that mom just dropped them off, basically just saying, stay here. And yeah, she might have gone out to hunt. But the sister, I'm pretty sure, would be here. So I think our plan for the afternoon is actually we'll come back here. Maybe see if we can find the sister as well. He's the more relaxed of the two. And it's usually, you know, she'll relax a little bit more as well if we stay around for longer. They usually she comes out as much as he has, and she's also just looking for a cool spot to lie down. This would be a phenomenal place. But we'll definitely be coming here this afternoon to see what they're up to. Such a magnificent cat.
Sorry about that. At least we got a view of the leopard, which is nice. Unfortunately, the signal is just not so fly over there at the moment. I don't know where they are on the reserve. But in actual fact, I think it's quite remarkable we've got any kind of signal out of andBeyond Ngala. When I worked there, there was no cell phone signal at all. And basically, it's a cell phone signal that's bringing you the feed, more or less. So we've still got our Grebes here. They have unfortunately decided to go quite far away. But maybe they'll head back this way. They don't swim slowly. So chances are they might arrive back here. No, Corbus, they don't feed one chick each. You'll notice that one of them is carrying them and one of them is feeding them, so no. They'll both feed both. Also, yeah, I mean, if you watch them on the nest, you'll see that they don't bias one over the other, each of the parents. They just kind of feed whoever happens to be close by, I think, as far as I've seen anyway. Very enthusiastic drongo shouting in the background. A couple of doves. Hippo sitting, watching patiently. All right, let's wait and see if these guys don't come a little bit closer. While we do that, Lauren has got a spider for you.
So maybe I do always look for the predators. Ian, you were right. I've got myself in a predator rut. But at least this predator has 8 legs and no spots. Oh, actually, it does have spots. There's spots on the back, but it's not a leopard. It is, of course, one of my favorites, a golden orbie, hanging upside down, as they always do. I'd really love to see a golden orbweb spider on the ground. Apparently, they're... Oh, she's pulling web out her spinnerets. You go, girl. I think she's doing some web maintenance, which is really important when your web is everything. It's your home. It's your fridge. It's your safety net, literally. So you need to maintain it. If it breaks, it's damaged, or it starts to have wear and tear, it's your job to, of course, maintain it. And I think this is what she's doing. She's also given herself a groom. She's cleaning her chelicerae and mandibles. Those appendages that spiders have to feed and inject venom. Now, Shadulu fan, you got back to me. Thank you. I think I understand the question now. Sorry, I was baffled. But you're asking what animal in the ocean is similar in terms of its behavior and characteristics to a leopard. To be honest, it's not really relatable. There's no sort of ocean animal that I can think of that would steal and stash and hoist. But if you generalize it to a leopard being a solitary apex predator, I would say a shark. Sharks are apex predator and they don't have any social dynamics. And therefore, I would link leopards to sharks in that regard. Being solitary, you're on your own, but you're at the top of the food chain. You're an apex predator. And I would say lions, for example, would be more similar to orcas. Again, you're an apex predator, but you have social dynamics. You're cooperative hunters, and you rely on the help from others in your pod or your pride. So, Shadulufan, I do apologize. I really didn't know what that meant. But that's what you're referring to. But you also got to see what a leopard shark looked like, so it was a win-win all round. But yeah, it's not entirely relatable comparing fish and their sort of daily behaviours to a specific species on land. But if you generalise it a little bit, then absolutely, that's what I would say. Lions, the equivalent would be orcas, and leopards, your equivalent would be sharks. Oh, this is lovely, seeing this girl maintain her web so delicately. Isn't she beautiful? Well, you have a great day, girlfriend. I'm going to head home for breakfast. So it's bye from Owen and I for now. You guys are going to cross to James to close the show.
Our little grebes are coming a bit closer now, which is exciting. I wouldn't say they're making their way here with the speed of Michael Phelps or anything like that. But there's much feeding going on. Oh, look, little one going off to see if it can receive a meal mid-water. That's very sweet. They are so tiny. Oh, and there's the juvenile. There's the juvenile grebe. Let's see what happens there. That's interesting. And the juvenile... Was that the juvenile that just fed? Or have I gone mad? There are 3 adults there, aren't there? Not?
I haven't seen 3.
Okay, it must just be the... I was unsighted briefly. Not sure how, because I'm staring straight at them. Anyway, it's not. It's just the 2 parents. Remember, there is a 3rd grebe in here that gave us all the consternation. Oh, look at the little ones, though. They're very good at swimming already. And now they're left on their own on the surface. As always, we're going to ask you to think about supporting us if you've enjoyed these live safaris, and if you continue to enjoy them. You can do that by going to wildearth.tv/support, and we'd appreciate any support that you can give us. As I always like to say, free to watch, not so free to produce. And obviously we'd like to keep them free for as long as possible. To expose as many people to the joys of nature in Africa at the moment as possible. This is just wonderful. Can't believe how fast they've grown. I always swore when I was a kid that I would never be the kind of adult that looked at a child and said, "Oh, you've grown so much since I last saw you." And I found myself doing it the other day. I saw a friend of mine's daughter who had naturally grown up. She was 6 when I'd last seen her, now she's 13, and unsurprisingly, she's about double the size she was when she was 6. And I said, "Oh, you were only 2 feet tall last time I saw you." And I felt so awful, and I understood why it had been said to me. Well, not so much to me, but to my siblings, so many times. Thank you for joining us, everybody, for the Sunrise Safari. We'll see you again, of course, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Until then, I hope that you have a wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Bye-bye.